Ohio. We're high on Ohio. These stories inform and inspire through the words of people who make Ohio home. Good news and good ideas, identifying and acknowledging the excellence that is all around us. Hi, this is Gene Krebs. I'm here today on behalf of the Center for Community Solutions, and we're high on Ohio. I'm here today at the offices of the Ohio Capital Corporation for Housing. I'm interviewing a longtime friend of mine, the Director of Community Development, Lia Patt-McDaniel. Lia, thank you very much for coming in and allowing us to interview you here today.
You're welcome.
My question for you is that we have a segment of this we call myth busting. Mm-hmm. And there's something, people often hold a certain thing to be true. Usually I find this in the comment section of the papers when I read the articles, and they're, self-informed opinions, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So, but there's something out there that people think is true, but is not true, and you have some data to back that up. What would you like to tell us about?
Well, what I'd really like to point out is that much is made of a brain drain here in Ohio, and that young people are leaving in droves. And to some extent, there are young people leaving the state of Ohio, but it's been my experience, and part is not data backed up, but it has been my experience that many people end up choosing to come back to Ohio once they have established families.
Boomerangs.
Yes, boomerangs, exactly. But the other thing that I do want to point out to people is the Dayton Daily News recently did a study, and they looked at the census data, and between 1990 and 2010, Ohio had lost 16% of the people in the age groups from, I think it was 20 to 34. But in the more recent period from July of 2010 to July of 2012, we're starting to see a return or a retention of people in that age group. And in fact, we have retained over 2%. Mm-hmm. We've started to go up in retaining those people.
Okay.
And I think that's important because young people who are coming up think it's a foregone conclusion, my own daughters included, that somehow they're going to have to leave this state in mm-hmm. order to establish a career and have a life with a family. And the fact is that's not true. And maybe I'm biased because I have spent my whole life in Ohio by choice.
Where are you from originally then?
I am from Lake County, Mentor, Ohio, up on the lake, and loved it up there, but have made my home here in Columbus essentially once I left Miami University where I went to college.
Okay. And going back to the millennials, the brain drain situation too, I know you've had a long history of being very active in historic rehabilitation and things of that nature.
Yes.
And so one of the things I'm struck by is that for the youth out there, they are attracted to older buildings. And Ohio is usually in the top 3 states in the country when it comes to the number of historic buildings and everything. So in other words, this is kind of like this are our beaches, our mountains,
yes.
if you will, so to speak. Then.
Right.
So you're seeing part of that play into it. And this kind of goes to the work that you do here, mm-hmm. is rather than tear down an architecturally significant building and put up something that's rather nondescript, you're looking to rehabilitate and make that community more visually interesting for the youth. So,
yeah, Gene, the thing about Ohio that is fantastic is if you go to sleep in Chillicothe and you wake up in Chillicothe, you're in Chillicothe and not in Mansfield. And when you wake up in Mansfield, you're in Mansfield. So the beauty of Ohio is all of our communities all have a sense of place, but they have a unique sense of place. And I think that the millennials are very attracted to that. I myself grew up in a subdivision, in a platted subdivision, and had a lovely life. Don't want mm-hmm. to suggest otherwise. But I grew up in Mentor, and my family was my grandparents lived in Willoughby, Ohio. Willoughby had an actual downtown central business district. And I loved that.
You thought that was the coolest thing?
I did. I thought that was the absolute coolest thing, and I'm sure that informed some of my career decisions that I've since made.